Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Shane and Grooms College Pick'em Show. We're here at week 9 of the 2014 season. We got some exciting pick'ems for you this week. But before we get into our pick'ems, we're going to talk about our Heisman hopefuls. We're getting a little bit past the midway point of the season here, and things are kind of locking in as far as who we think is going to be in the Heisman race. And we're looking forward to bringing that to you this week. Shane, who are your Heisman hopefuls, and how do you think they did last week? How do you think they're going to do going forward?
I still have Dak Prescott. They were off last week. When they got, I think they got a little scary game against Kentucky. He's got to get the job done, and I think he will. I think he'll have another good game. Coming in at number 2, I mean, it's hard not to talk about him because he had a great second half and led his team back. It's Jameis Winston. I mean, I think he's probably the best NFL-ready quarterback in college right now. And it's hard not to talk about him. He led that Florida State team back in the second half after having a bad first half. And then a guy who they're trying to reinstate, I like Todd Gurley. I think if he gets back on the field, I think he'll be bursting through and getting a lot of yards and really getting back out there and showing everybody what he can do.
I'm in agreement with you, Shane. I think this has become a 3-horse race at this point. The same guys that you mentioned are my same 3, and probably in that order also. Dak Prescott is still my number 1. He's got another chance this week to go out and ball out. And I think he's going to need to have a good game to beat Kentucky. Although Kentucky's not always a traditional good team, I think they're on their way up, and they're going to play hard this week. So I think he's going to need to play well and show that senior leadership. Todd Gurley, that's exciting, especially for you Georgia fans. I've been seeing some free Gurley shirts around, and it looks like he might get freed up. I know they're trying to petition the NCAA to be reinstated this week. So I'm interested to see about that. And then I agree, you got to give credit where credit's due, and I think Jameis Winston had a phenomenal second half last weekend against Notre Dame. I was a little bit surprised by Notre Dame continuing to blitz all game. It's almost like they were trying to protect their secondary in a way by trying to get pressure quick. And the coaching staff and Jameis made good adjustments at halftime, and they made him pay in the second half. So he's definitely in the running. The only other guy that I have that we have not mentioned that could potentially get his name in there is Nick Marshall. I'm a little bit biased because I'm an Auburn fan, but if you see what their schedule is the rest of the way, and if he comes out and really plays well, and let's say Auburn runs the table, I think he gets back in that discussion. Yeah. And he has the talent and plays in a system where he could potentially do that.
Yeah, I feel you. You're right, that system quarterbacks love, and even good running backs,
right,
like Trey Mason last year. But now we're going on to our top 25 of this week. Now we got number 1 ranked Mississippi State that we playing at Kentucky.
Mississippi State, man, they're feeling good about themselves. I know we talked about this a little bit before the show. This is a game that could potentially be a trap game for them. Alabama, they got Alabama next week. They cannot be looking forward to that game because they're really going to have to play a good game against this Kentucky team, especially in Kentucky. But you know, Shane, it's a 13.5-point spread. I think they cover, and this is the reason why I think their senior leadership is not going to allow them to lose focus. And I think Dak Prescott is on a mission. I think they get this done.
Yeah, I think so too. Dak Prescott, I think, comes out there and balls and has a really big game helping his Heisman campaign. But I don't know, that Kentucky team, they like to sneak up on guys. And Mississippi State, don't look for your dessert until you finish your entree. You got to beat this Kentucky team to get to that Alabama game.
You know, we're big SEC fans, and I wanted to make note of, you got some teams that have been down the bottom of the SEC really coming up and trending forward. I mean, you got Ole Miss, Mississippi State, who've always kind of been the bottom feeders, playing at a national level now. Then you got Kentucky and Tennessee that I see are actually on the rise. But you know what's crazy? That we're sitting here talking about a Florida team that probably maybe is the worst team in the SEC. Florida, that's a traditional powerhouse.
Yep.
It's amazing how the script's been flipped there.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, usually in the East, it's Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, South Carolina, and now it's really looking at that Kentucky-Georgia game as who's going to come out of the East.
It's crazy.
But now we're moving number 2, Florida State. They have a bye this week.
Go ahead. I think this bye comes at a good time for Florida State. I think they got to be really careful about this game against Louisville on Thursday night, going to Louisville. I know Louisville hasn't played a lot of people, but I think they have enough talent in that roster to give Florida State a fight. So it's going to be an interesting game to talk about next week.
It is. Florida State coming off a close win there at the end. I mean, that goes either way. A lot of people. It was the correct call, but I don't see how you make that call at that time of game.
You know, I think it was the correct call, but I think they score that touchdown regardless because I thought it was a blown coverage. But, you know, you can talk about these things in a lot of different scenarios in games. Florida State ended up with the win, and they played a great second half to get it done.
They did.
Yep.
But now we're moving on to number 3rd ranked Ole Miss. They'll be playing at number 24th ranked LSU.
Man, Shane, I tell you what, this spread surprises me. 3.5 point spread for Ole Miss, and I understand that they're playing at LSU, and it's probably going to be a night game. I'm assuming if LSU has anything to do with it, it's going to be a night game, and I know it's always traditionally very hard to play there. And evidently the bookies out in Vegas are giving them a lot of respect for that dynamic that they're playing there on the road. I know LSU played well last week. I just don't see them covering this. I think Ole Miss definitely covers a spread of 3.5.
They're going into Death Valley where teams' dreams come to die.
Wow. That's strong, Shane. That's strong.
But I like Ole Miss too.
Where teams' dreams come to die. I like that.
It's Death Valley. The real Death Valley. Sorry, Clemson fans. But Ole Miss, I really like in this game. I think they come in and take care of business. I think that defense continues to play really well. And I think that's what wins in this game. I think they cover.
I think you make a great point, Shane. Defense travels. No matter where you play, that defense is going to get on the bus. So I think we're in agreement. I think they cover this spread of 3.5.
Now, number 4th ranked Alabama will be playing at Tennessee.
Now, this is a very interesting game. I definitely would not be placing a bet on this game because I could see this going either way. Alabama came out and looked like they were a pro team last week, just putting up 59 points against Texas A&M, 59-0.
Shut up.
That was a straight blowout that we didn't call. But that was a beatdown. But I see Tennessee trending up, and it's at Tennessee. I'm thinking that Alabama is not going to cover this spread of 17. I think Tennessee will come out and give them a great fight. And I can see this being one of those Alabama games where you're like, they end up winning, but you're like, how good is Alabama really?
Yeah.
So I think that Tennessee doesn't allow Alabama to cover.
I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one. I seen Alabama last week, and yes, it was against the Texas A&M team where everybody thought was really good early in the season. But come to find out, they're not at all. I think they've lost 4 straight games, if I'm correct.
Wow. Yeah.
Granted, it has been, I think, Auburn, Alabama, Mississippi State, and Ole Miss.
Right. Now, Auburn hasn't played them yet, but
hasn't.
It was Mississippi State and Alabama for sure. And
Ole
Ole Miss, yeah. So they played 3 top 5 teams.
So, I mean, you got to give that to them, but yeah, they look horrible. 59-0. That's unacceptable.
Wow.
And then I think that was really a statement game for Nick Saban. A lot of fans were questioning him after that, them barely winning against Arkansas. So that's why I think they cover this spread. I think they go in Tennessee. Yes, it's a rivalry game, but I think Nick Saban has his guys ready, and I think he's going to try to do what he did last week. But now number 5th ranked Auburn, they'll be hosting South Carolina.
You know, I'm always a glass half empty kind of guy when it comes to Auburn because I never really want to jinx us, but I feel very strongly that Auburn covers this spread of 17.5 this week. It's a home game for them. I'm not very high on South Carolina, as it turns out, what they've done on the field the last few weeks. Auburn's coming off a bye, so they're going to be fresh. I think Auburn rolls in this game, Shane.
I do too. It's probably going to be a blowout. And I think you're right about earlier about Nick Marshall. I think he really has a big game. And I think if he can continue, he can get in that Heisman run. But now number 6 ranked Oregon, they'll be playing at California.
Oregon is starting to come on, and they're getting healthy. They had a few injuries early. I think they cover this spread of 18. By the look of your face, I feel like you're going to disagree with me. But I think Oregon covers a spread of 18 on the road.
I think they cover this game, but I think as Oregon gets into that meat of their schedule, I think they're going to do the same thing they do every year. And that's,
You think they're going to lose to Stanford again?
Yes, I
You
think
do?
so. I think so. I like that Stanford defense. Reminds me a little bit of the SEC defense
Right.
that Oregon has a tough time with. But I think Oregon definitely covers this. Marcus Mariota probably runs for about 100, throws for 300. But Oregon definitely covers. But now number 7th ranked Notre Dame, they're on a bye this week.
Notre Dame, they're still ranked number 7. Man, if I was a Notre Dame player, I would actually want to be playing this week to get that loss out of my system from last weekend. I mean, they had that game. They had great opportunities to win the game. I actually thought that from a totality standpoint, they probably outplayed Florida State. They outgained them by 150 yards, but just couldn't get it done. We'll see. They really don't play very. I mean, they do have USC left to play.
Yeah.
So they got one tough game later on the season, but we'll see how they play out.
Yeah, Everett Golson really came out and he performed.
Thought he had a great game.
For that Notre Dame,
I really did.
The Notre Dame team, and we really didn't think that Notre Dame defense was all that good. Which they did good in the first half. They just couldn't make adjustments after Jameis made adjustments, and Jameis really picked them apart in the second half.
Right.
But I like this Notre Dame team. I mean, y'all not out of it. I definitely think y'all could still get in the playoffs at the end if all the dominoes fall right. You'll be fine. Just play your season out and win it. But now number 8th ranked Michigan State, they'll be hosting Michigan.
I feel pretty confident about this one also. I think Michigan State covers this spread of 17. Evidently, obviously, it's a rivalry game, somewhat of an in-state rivalry. Michigan's just not very good, and Michigan State is pretty sound on both sides of the ball. Brady Hope, this could be the last straw for him. If he gets blew out in this game, he's probably gone.
I think he will.
You think he's gone either way?
Yeah, I think this is him and Muschamp.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're pretty much done. But I agree with you. I think Michigan State wins this one easily. Probably blowout.
Blowout.
But now number 9th ranked Georgia, they have a bye this week.
We're going to talk about this game next week because this is always a fun game to talk about. They play Florida next week in Jacksonville. What is it called? The biggest tailgate in the world?
The largest cocktail.
The largest cocktail party in the world. I've never been down there, but I've had friends that have, and I got to make that trip at some point and experience that. But I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that next week. Should be a good ball game.
But now number 10th ranked TCU, they'll be hosting Texas Tech.
TCU, man, they put up a lot of points, don't they? The Horned Frogs, they just run around out there like crazy. I'm not high on Texas Tech. I think they cover 23. TCU is going to put some points up.
Oh, yeah. I like their quarterback, Boykin. He's really came on. I think he's a junior now, and he's really learned that offense and got used to it. He's been putting up big numbers this year. And I think TCU definitely covers this spread of 23. But now number 11th ranked Kansas State, they'll be hosting Texas.
Kansas State, they cover this spread of 10 also against Texas. It's a home game for Kansas State. Tough place to play. They always play well there. And as an Auburn fan, I'm looking at that win that we had against Kansas State as even a better win every week that goes by.
They just beat Oklahoma.
That just beat Oklahoma, so they cover here.
Yeah, I think so too. It's still a young Texas team. I really thought they probably played their best game against Oklahoma this year, and as we can see last week, Oklahoma is really not as good as we thought they were. So I think Kansas State does cover this spread of 10. But now number 12th ranked Baylor, they have a bye.
I told you, Baylor fans, last week that y'all weren't that good. I was tired of y'all getting on my Facebook page. I'm seeing all my news feeds coming down about y'all not getting respect. And that's the reason why you didn't get respect, because the first time you really played somebody, in my opinion, that had a decent defense, you lose. So, you're not going to get the respect unless you can go play somebody on the road and win a game. I'm sorry, you might be mad at me, but I don't owe you an apology, because what I said last week came to fruition. So you're going to have to deal with it, and every now and then they're a good basketball team. They have a good basketball team. So you might have to look forward to that.
We both agreed last week that Baylor, y'all are not going to beat West Virginia. Not at West Virginia. You played a decent defense, and we seen what happened.
The Bears. The Baylor Bears.
Couldn't beat them Mountaineers. But now to move to number 13th ranked Ohio State, they'll be playing at Penn State. So
this is a tough game for me to call. It really is. I'm not high on Ohio State. I have a friend of mine that I work closely with that's saying that they're getting better every week. But who have they really played? Have they played anybody that's... I don't remember.
They lost to a Virginia Tech team who I think has lost 3 in a row since then.
Right. So I'm going to say they don't cover here of 13.5. I think at Penn State, at College Station, Penn State's going to come out and play well. Penn State's, they're down this year, but James Franklin will have them ready to play. They'll play hard. I think this game is closer to 13.5.
Yeah, I think it is too. I think Penn State really gives them all their money's worth. Because, Penn State, as we found out earlier this year, they got all their scholarships back and everything, and that really lifted all their spirits. So they're Penn State. I think James Franklin does have them ready for this game, and I don't think Ohio State covers. But now number 14th ranked Arizona State, they'll be playing at Washington.
I think Washington covers this. I don't think Arizona State covers here either. Washington's going to give them all they want. Washington State. No, we're Washington. I think Washington gives them all they want. And
upset.
I'm going to go ahead and pick upset. Washington's going to beat Arizona State. Sorry, the Aztecs, correct?
No,
the Sun Devils. Why do I want to keep calling the Aztecs?
San Diego State.
The Sun Devils are going to go down this week at Washington to the Huskies.
I think the Huskies take it too. Sun Devils, we've seen earlier your defense is not good, and we've seen earlier that your offense ain't all that great. So Huskies about to take that number 14th ranked Arizona State. But now number 15th ranked Arizona will be playing at Washington State.
I'm thinking just like Mississippi was partying a couple weekends ago, I think the state of Washington's going to party this week. Because we might go back-to-back upsets right here. Washington State over Arizona at Washington State.
I'm going to have to go with Arizona.
Arizona.
Rich Rod.
Rich Rod going to have them going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I've always liked Rich Rod. I think really Michigan's looking at that now and wishing they had Rich Rod back.
I'm hearing Rich Rod possibly to Florida.
Hey. Well,
that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing nationwide. I'm hearing potentially Rich Rod to Florida.
And I just don't think what's his Mike Leach? Washington State. They have a good offense, but I really think they lost a senior quarterback last year, and they got a really young quarterback now.
Yeah.
I don't see them really giving Arizona any trouble at all. I think Arizona wins this game easily. But now number 16th ranked Nebraska, they'll be hosting Rutgers.
Nebraska they're going to cover here of 17.5. I don't think this game is going to be close.
Yeah, I think so too. Amir Abdullah runs around,
puts
up yards. But now number 17th ranked Oklahoma, they have a bye.
Bob Stoops, where you at? That's what you get for talking all that trash all the time. Mm-hmm. People come out, when you talk trash, people are going to come out and play their best game against you. And that's what keeps happening to you. Just keep your mouth shut and go play. You better be glad you got a bye, because you might be going back-to-back losses.
I agree with you 100%. Keep running, that's going to happen. Teams want to beat you even more if you keep running. So here we go. We're just going to go ahead and go to number 18th ranked East Carolina. They'll be hosting UConn.
I would really like to go see East Carolina play. They just seem like they're fun to watch and put up a lot of points. I like that. I think they put 27.5 UConn. They're going to cover.
Yeah, I agree. Their offense has been rolling. I think they continue. So now number 19th ranked Utah. They'll be hosting number 20th ranked USC.
This is probably the best game of the week here. I know it's lower down the rankings.
Over the Ole Miss LSU game?
I just think Ole Miss is going to roll in that game. I think Utah USC game is going to be a very, very close game, very contested game. I can't call it here. If it's a 1-point spread, that's basically flipping a coin. And I've been going with the Utes all year, so I'm going to keep going with them. I'm going to go with the home team here. I'm going to go with Utah.
Yeah, I agree. Utah gets it done. USC, you've been up and down. You win a big game, you lose a game. You win a big game, you lose a game. And I think you won last week, so you're probably going to lose this week. I like Utah. So now number 21st ranked Clemson, they'll be hosting Syracuse.
You know, Clemson, I was kind of talking them down last week. You know, we picked that upset. Boston College is going to beat Clemson. It was a close game, but Clemson pulled it out without the Watson. The Watson kid? So they're playing with Stout again. You know, I'm starting to believe in Clemson a little bit. I'm not saying that they're, you know, obviously not in the national championship hunt or anything, but I think they win games they're supposed to, and I think they cover the spread against Syracuse at 14.
Yeah, I think so too. We didn't give y'all no credit last week, and that's our fault. But hey, we just think Watson's better than Stout. And,
Correct.
I guess Stout, you heard, I guess, and you really performed to beat that Boston College team, who I thought was a little bit better. Yeah. But good job there, Tigers. Now number 22nd ranked West Virginia, they'll be playing at Oklahoma State.
It's an even spread, so obviously the odds makers think this is going to be a very good game. You know what? I think West Virginia is playing with a little bit of moxie, if that's my right word. The Mountaineers are going to beat Oklahoma State this week.
I think so too. Oklahoma State's, I think it's a high scoring game, like every other Big 12 game this year. I think it's probably going to be about 38, 35 in the last minute, and I think West Virginia pulls away. The Mountaineers going to keep on rolling. But now number 23rd ranked Marshall, they'll be hosting Florida Atlantic.
Marshall, the Thundering Herd. I still have not seen this team play, but I really would like to. I might make an effort to try to watch this team play this week. It looks like they're favored by 28, and I'm going to go ahead and say they cover.
Mm-hmm. Only undefeated team ranked out of the top 5, and they're going to stay undefeated. They're going to roll over Florida Atlantic.
Wonder if Randy Moss will be attending the game, or Chad Pennington.
Chad Pennington. Where did he go?
I'm not sure.
Now number 25th ranked UCLA, they'll be hosting Colorado.
Poor old UCLA, the Bruins. You're ranked about where you're supposed to be at 25. This is about where you deserve to be ranked, and this is probably where you're supposed to be ranked at the beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. You know what? I'm gonna be nice to you guys this week, and I'm gonna say you cover this spread of 13.5 against Colorado.
I think so too. I'm not saying UCLA are that great. I just really think Colorado is that bad. Sorry there, Buffaloes.
Shane, I know we're done with the games, but I keep checking my phone. I got an inside source down at the University of Florida, and I've been checking, and I just got a text from the University of Florida athletic department here, and it says in all caps, Trayon to start against UGA. So Trayon Harris is going to be back starting for Florida against UGA, and Shane, that is a game changer for Florida. Florida looks so much better with him at quarterback, and I'm telling you what, right now, you might want to give your guys a call, put a call into Rick, put a call into Bobo, and tell them they better have them guys playing, because that Florida-Georgia game is very unpredictable. Trayon Harris is going to be balling down there in Jacksonville.
You just be ready, because that's when Todd Gurley's supposed to come back.
Okay.
And he's coming out with a vengeance.
Now, before we go, tell me who your top 4 teams are right now in the playoffs. If the playoffs were to start this weekend, who would you have?
The best teams right now, and I'll go ahead and go in order. I got Mississippi State, Florida State, Ole Miss, and I'm still gonna have to go Auburn.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to still keep it Auburn. I gotta keep those same four.
I definitely feel confident about the top three. Definitely Mississippi State, Florida State. I think Florida State's going to run the table. I don't think they lose. I think to be honest, Florida State's the team that I feel the most confident in about being in the playoff.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that they're going to win out. Ole Miss definitely in the playoff. That fourth team, though, it is very tough for me to decide. But I'm going to go ahead and decide. I'm going to say it's going to be Alabama. Auburn. I love Auburn, but they're.
You just pick Alabama.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about Auburn. Their road schedule that they got to play is crazy. They got to play Alabama, Georgia, and Ole Miss on the road, and that's going to be a tough gauntlet to run.
It is.
Guys, good luck with your pick'ems this week.
Yep.
See you.